Hello everyone, welcome to the next session on ABAP on HANA. In the last class, we have talked about enhancements in OpenSQL in SAP NetWeaver 7.4 SP2. We will continue our discussion to see some more features, enhancements and advancements which has happened in terms of OpenSQL to our NetWeaver layer. So what are all the other enhancements or features which we will see in today's class? The first feature which we will start with is the group by clause. With SAP NetWeaver, the group by clause was also there in the past, but the implementation of the group by clause has been improved. So what is the group by clause in SQL queries? So group by clause helps us to apply aggregation functionality by considering certain columns as fixed columns. This is what the group by does. Let's take an example. So if I consider a database table which has, let's say, sales data for a customers. So now you have, let's say, order number, business partner, and sales gross amount. So if you say sales order 1, business partner X, gross amount 100, sales order number 2, business partner X, gross amount 200, sales order 3, business partner Y, gross amount 300, sales order 4, business partner X again, 950, sales order 6, 5, Y as 300, sales order 6, X as 150, and sales order number 7, Y as 600. This is my data in the database table. Now my requirement here is to identify. So what is my requirement? To identify the total sales per customer. This is my requirement. So I need to calculate the total gross amount of sales per customer. So typical way of doing this is you fire a database table query to read all the records from the database table and pull it in the application layer. And after doing that, you collect this information in an internal table to calculate the summation, isn't it? That's a typical way of reading this information. So option number 1 is read all records. In the loop, apply summation using collect statement in internal table. But this approach has a big disadvantage. Disadvantage is because you are now pulling all the records from the backend, from the DB to your application layer. So how would you do a code push down for this kind of a query? Let's get into the system and try to see this in the result directly on HANA DB for such a query. Or maybe basically I will log into our SAP system for this type of query and show you the performance difference when it comes to taking such a data and calculating the total. So what I'll do is I will just quickly connect to our HANA DB. And I will write a new program today. Demo SQL enhancement part 2. I'll click on create SQL enhancements. Execute. And now I will just hit my sales order table to get all the sales order for a business partner or basically the company name. So my result list should look like this. I should get the company name, then the sales amount and the currency. This is what the requirement is. So company name is part of BPA table. Sales or amount is, or sales gross amount is part of sales order table. So what is the technique I will use to brought this data from two tables? So whenever you want to get the data from more than one table, which technique do you typically use? Inner join, absolutely. So I say select business partner table, company name, sales order table, gross amount, and once again sales order table, currency code from my business partner table, which is SNWD underscore BPA as BP table, inner join SNWD underscore sales order table, sales order header table, of course, because that's where I have the gross amount as my sales order table on, and the join condition is business partner node key is equals to sales order table BP ID. I think that's the join condition. We will see into work area, which I will do an inline declaration now, as we saw in yesterday's class, and select. Okay, that is what I do. Save this. Quickly do a syntax check. We'll get to know the column names if it is correct or not. The table name itself is not correct. SNWD underscore. Let me check the table name. SO table. It's not SO head. It's just a SO table, sales order table. And now I think we can just quickly check node key is correct. And here BP ID is not there. So just do control space to find the column. It's buyer GUID. Now let's quickly print this data on the UI as it is. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm just printing this data as it is. So work area hyphen company name, work area hyphen gross amount, work area hyphen currency code. Save this. Let's do a quick check. Activate this code. And let's print the result on the UI. Execute this program and you see for every company name, it is printing the sales gross amount and the currency. And you see it's repeating because there are multiple orders for this company. Okay, there are multiple orders. Let's see how much time this query will take to execute. Yet again, I would go with our timer. Quickly, I will write the timer code. CL ABAP timer class, CL runtime timer. I don't remember the name. What was the name of the class for timer? Does anybody remember the name of the timer class? Anybody? Create a CL ABAP runtime, correct? CL ABAP runtime, I think, yeah. Thank you. And then just say create an HR timer, hour timer. And then we just get the time into T1 with my timer object, get runtime. And similarly, I will also get T2 and finally just print the final result of T1 and T2, total time which it has taken. So data total is equals to T2 minus T1. And since the time comes in milliseconds, I just divide it by 1000 and then just do a write statement, the time taken. And just put this TOT and save this. Activate it. And let's see how much time this query is taking in total to get all the sales amount for every customer. You see, it is taking about 491 milliseconds. Okay, 491 milliseconds it is taking. If I go back and now I want to change this query and I also want to calculate the total. So what I need to do, in case of internal table, those who are aware of ABAP programming, internal table has a concept called control break statements, and also internal table has a feature called collect statement. So how does the collect statement works in an internal table? Let me just quickly brief you about it. So let's say you're preparing an internal table, okay? You're building a new internal table. Now this internal table has a char like field, let's say in this case business partner company name, and then you have another field called gross amount. When you are pushing the data in this internal table, the first column is character like. Character like means it's a character field, right? You all agree it's a character field. Gross amount could be an integer, it could be a packed integer, it could be a number. Basically it's a numeric or number like field or a decimal like field. Now whenever you are pushing the data in an internal table, you can tell the table that this is my key field. Okay, you can tell the table that this is my key field. Now when you want to insert the data in the internal table, you don't do simple append. Now suppose if you have a data like A, company name A10, A20, A30, B70, B50, A30. And if you want to add this data in internal table, if you just do an append work area, let's say this is your work area data. So first record goes and sit inside this first record. So it goes here A and 10. And then you say append A20. Then the moment you say append, it goes A20 like this. So it keeps on adding the records individually in the internal table. When you do append work area to iTab, this is what when you do. But if you do collect work area to iTab, what happens? Watch carefully. Considering that company name is a character like field and it's a key for the table, what happens is when you do collect work area, any numeric field, which is in this case a integer or packed integer, will get summed up automatically. Okay, it will not insert a new record for every char like field. It compares that if already the company name exists in the table, if it exists in the table, it will just do a summation of our numeric fields. So first record comes is A10. You are not doing here now an append, you are doing a collect. The second record, when it comes A20, what it does, it just checks the table. It finds already there is a character like field which is company name and contain the value A. It will just do a summation. So it becomes 30 after second record is processed. After you again do a collect work area in iTab, what it becomes? Will it insert a new record in your internal table? Yes or no? Anybody? Will this insert a new record? No. What it will do? It will summation the number like fields. Okay. So the numeric like fields, it will summation. So 30 plus 30, it will make 60. Then it's find another record. Now in this case, it's B. So already the record for B is not there. So it will append a fresh record with B70 for the first time. Next record again, the B is there already in the table. It matches. So it adds it here. Total becomes 120. Next A 30 again comes. So it finds an A which is char like field value matches. It adds it. It makes 90. So that is how your collect statement in internal table works. Every char like field which you or the fields which are marked as key fields for internal table, it will consider and try to not replicate the same field again or same record again. Instead, it will consider that char like field as a primary key or a key and summation up or sum up automatically the numeric fields available in the table. That's the collect statement in iTab. This is something which already you should know as an ABAPer. But if you don't know, now you know how does this work. So what I'll do here is to calculate the total gross amount of sales per customer, I will do same thing. So I will declare an internal table. So I just declare an internal table using types, type of begin of type ty underscore my total, or I can say total. And first field is company name, type business partner tables, which is SNWDBPA hyphen company name. Then you have currency code, type SNWD underscore SO hyphen currency code. Then comes his gross amount, which is a numeric field. Actually, if you see the data type now, it's actually a number. It's an integer or a packed integer or a long integer. So gross amount. So in this table, which are all the char-like fields? Anybody? What are all the char-like fields in this table? Which are all the char-like fields in this structure? Anybody? First two, perfect. It's company code and currency code. Those two are the char-like fields. And the numeric field, which is actually essentially a number which can be summed up, which can be totaled, is the last field. Okay. So now we will just use this structure and define an internal table, data, itab, type table of, or type standard, or you can also create a sorted table of ty total with key, or I forgot the syntax to create a table defining the key. So key fields, do we have that? So let me just do an F1 on type table of statement. Here press F1, you will get to know the documentation help from above. And you see sorted table, create sorted table, data statement, and just go inside. You will see how to define the keys or key columns, hash table, this, table keys. So you just click here, we'll get to know syntax with the key. And now I think we can give with key and keep giving the columns which are the keys. Okay, so let's come and I say with key. Key name is company name and currency code. These two are my key fields. Why it is not accepting? I just again check the documentation why it is not accepting. I press F1 yet again to look at the documentation quickly. And table keys with key with unique, you have to mention unique key and keep mentioning the keys over there. Unique key. Yeah, that's the syntax to define a table with keys. So what, even though let's say sometimes you may have a numeric column which you don't want to sum up, you want to treat it like a key. So in that case, you can put that numeric column in the key. So that becomes your main key to, and other columns which are outside the key will be treated like number-like columns, which can participate in the totaling. Okay. So now what I will do is, instead of append statement, I will do collect work area to itab. Fair enough? Collect work area into itab. That is what I will do. So I've created an internal table. Let me also quickly, yeah, this is fine. And I can just comment this write statement and then just print outside the total. Okay, I'm going to print the total. So loop add itab into work area and now print the total over here. So this will now give me the total, guys. For every company code, what is the gross amount total? It will give me the total, because gross amount is the numeric column which it will keep on totaling based on company name and based on that. Okay, now here it is seeing that it's not compatible. I have to declare the work area also. Inline declaration will not help me here. Just I should do into corresponding fields of work area. Do a quick check. Okay, I have forgot the add the rate of symbol because I'm using comma. Whenever you use comma, you got to use the escape characters and activate the code. Let's execute and see the results. So I execute it, and now you see one customer is coming only one time and it's giving me the total sales order amount for that customer. You see, total sales amount for this customer, total sales order amount. One customer is coming only one time, and you see total time which it has taken is 214. Let me this time note down this time. So result of all customers with their total sales amount took about 214 milliseconds. Yeah, this is the time it has taken. Now let's come back to another variant. This all statement, this all thing can be done with another SQL statement where you can do a code push down. Code push down means you calculate this total, not here in application layer. So here you are looping select and select. What ultimately this statement is doing is it is fetching all the records. Okay, it's fetching all the records in application layer. What is your ultimate goal? Anybody? What is your ultimate goal? What is your ultimate goal here in this requirement? What is your ultimate goal? What is that ultimately you are printing on the UI? What is that you're printing on the UI? What is the ultimate goal? Anyone? What is the ultimate goal of this requirement? To calculate the total gross sales per customer, right? And for that, you are actually bringing every individual sales record and summing it up in application layer. What does it mean? You are hitting DB first of all again and again. Yeah, you can see select and select again and again. You're hitting DB. Problem number two, with not just that, you're also pulling lot of records from back end to front end, right? You're pulling all the sales order records and then totaling it up in the application layer. What if we only do a push down of this logic directly to DB, telling the database that you just give us the total sum? With that, you also minimize the number of data transfers from back end to front end. How can you achieve this? Very simple. You can write this select, same columns yet again, same join condition yet again, all that is same. Okay, so this one is all same. So I've just reused the same piece of code. Inner join also same thing. And now after this, you say into corresponding fields of table iTab. This way you are hitting DB only once, 0.1, because it's not a select and select. Select and select is a loop on database table. It pulls record one by one and pushes it in application layer. But here you are getting all the result finally in one shot with one single hit to DB in your internal table. This is one point of improvement, which also helps you to avoid one of the guideline or protect one of the guideline where you are calling multiple database calls to a single DB call. You see, multiple select and select sends multiple calls. Okay. Second, what will we do is we do a group by, because we have to calculate a summation. So earlier you were transferring huge amount of data and totaling it up in application layer. This can also be reduced by using an aggregate function. So aggregate function here is sum of gross amount. So I'm saying sum the gross amount value as gross amount, because that's the column name I want. Now this should be aggregated based on company name and currency code. Like in this case, your care like field in internal table was company name and currency code based on which you want to aggregate. So that goes under the group by clause. So group by BP hyphen company name and sales order table currency code. That's it, guys. This will now go to DB, tell the database table that you sum up the gross amount for all the records where company name and currency code are matching. Okay, where company name and currency code are matching. There is one more golden rule when we apply group by clause. Remember, this is one of the major golden rule or funda fox when you apply group by clause. What is the funda fox with respect to group by clause? It's a very important thing to remember. Group by clause, funda fox. So it says when we apply or when we aggregate columns using sum min, max. These are called aggregate function. Average, count. We need, and if we are selecting multiple columns from DB table, all the columns which are not included inside aggregate function must be part of group by clause. Watch this statement carefully. Let me explain you. Watch this statement carefully, line by line. When we aggregate column using this, any of these functions, and we are selecting, and if we are selecting multiple columns, so you see we are selecting multiple column, company name, gross amount, currency code. Okay, we are selecting multiple columns. All the columns which are not included inside aggregate function. So which are all the columns in this case which are not part of aggregate functions? Anybody? Which are all the columns which are not part of aggregate functions? 1 and 3, company name and currency code. These two are the columns which are not coming inside any aggregate function. You see, only sum is aggregate function, so only gross amount is part of aggregate function. So these two columns has to be or must be part of group by clause. You see, I put it in the group by clause. You can see must be part of group by clause. This is one Fundafox. You should not violate this rule. Otherwise, you would, we will see, I don't know what will happen, whether it will produce wrong result. According to me, it should give syntax error. According to me, we will see that anyways. So now let's see the result first. It will now consider company name and currency code, and it will group the results by calculating the total of gross amount and only transfer the final result set to the front end. So you are actually safeguarding yourself with two of the major guidelines. One guideline was multiple hits, which you were happening using select and select loop. Second guideline is only transfer final result set rather than transferring big result from the backend, okay, from the database. So you will only transfer one final result set, which is already the totaled or aggregated value. Okay, I forgot to put our escaping of host variable at the rate of symbol. That's why it's giving me the error. Every time you use comma, it's important that you put escaping of your host variable. Okay. So let's do a quick check also. Again, there is a syntax error. So group by BP company name, SO currency code. Okay, I have to put a comma here as well. You can see I have to put a comma in group by clause for the second column. Do a check again and activate. We are done. So let's execute this and see the time which it takes to run and produce the sum. So you see it is calculated the same result, but if I come down and see the runtime which it has taken, you can see 94 millisecond. What was the earlier time? 240 milliseconds to 94 milliseconds, guys. If you have billions of records, this time which is significantly lower. You see how much percentage is this? And if I say 94 multiplied by 100 divided by 214, 43% improvement in performance, guys. 43% is a big value. If you again execute this, this will even be lower, because first time it may take more time, but same DB table, if it is hit, it is again optimized, and you see now it is just finally 5 milliseconds. Actually, it has come to 5 milliseconds actually, the same query. So it's a big improvement in performance, guys, using the group by clause with aggregate functions. And now let me see if my Fundafox works. I remove the column which is not participating in aggregate function, but participating in selection of the column. I removed it. I don't put it in the group by clause. Let me save it and do a quick check if it works. You see, you are getting a syntax error in ABAP. It says you're selecting a column without aggregate function, and that column is not put inside the group by clause. Okay, it has not been put inside the group by clause. You see, So it proves that in the group by clause, you must have to have the column which you are selecting and must participate into the group by clause if not surrounded by aggregate function. So gross amount is already surrounded by aggregate function. So this is fine. You don't need to care about it. This you don't need to put it as part of your group by because it's already surrounded by an aggregate function. This is what I am applying, I'm calculating. So of course it should not be grouped by gross amount, and remaining columns has to be part of group by actually. So that is what the group by clause is. This is there since many years in OpenSQL, something not new. But what is new now is you can make use of aggregated result also in the having clause. So if you want to further filter the data based on the grouped result, you can use aggregate function in having clause. So having is the option to apply a where condition on a grouped result. So whenever you use a group by clause, guys, and you want to apply further filtering like a where condition, you can use you always use having. You never use where statement. Okay. So whenever you are doing a group by and on top you want to apply some filtering or some record filtering, never use where. With group by you should always use having clause. So having, now I want only the customers which are top customers. So by far it has given me all the summation of total revenue or total sales order gross of every customer. I want to say now get me only customer which has revenue more than 1 lakh or 10 lakhs. Okay. So that is what I put. So you see this is something new. You can put aggregate functions as part of having condition inside the group by clause. This is something new which you can do with NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 onwards. You can put aggregated result, final result, part of having clause also. Okay. Yes, you should ideally use group by. If you want performance improvement, you should use group by. That's the right way. And now you see further, let's say my company, my manager says, go ahead and get me the top customers. Okay. Top customers means the customers who has revenue more than 1 million in my company, who has total sales order amount exceeded 1 million. Only those customers I want to see, and also want to see their total gross amount. So you can apply a condition here in having clause, execute it, and you can see these are all the customers which are already exceeded. Maybe I will use some more data, so I'll just say 10 million, not 1 million. I want all the ones which have exceeded 10 million. You see, these are all the top customers which have exceeded 10 million sales order gross amount. And you see it's low, it's you know, comparatively a smaller result set. What I see, if I make it 100 million, let's see what happens. It will even reduce it further on. So this way you are actually reducing the data set transferred from database to the application layer also. You see, these are all the top 5 customers who has a revenue more than 100 million in terms of sales gross amount, and their total gross also being printed over here. Okay. So let's look at a question. So having should only be used with group by. Absolutely. You cannot use having without group by. Okay. You should always use, if I just use having, this doesn't make sense. It expects a group by. If I remove group by and do a check, you can see an error comes. It says group by clause is missing. Okay. So that is the best way whenever you want to calculate some kind of results, aggregated results on certain columns, always use group by, guys. And further on that summation result or calculated result, you want to further do filtering of data, always do having on top. This would minimize your number of data transfer, number of record transfer from your database to the front end. Same query you can also apply directly on HANA DB. Let me go to Eclipse and just do this query here. Select star or select bp dot company name, then sales order dot gross. I just say sum of sales order dot gross amount, and then sales order field currency code from SN schema name SAP ABAP for HANA. You can also do one quick thing in HANA, in Eclipse SQL console. You can say set schema SAP A4H. This is one way to set the schema. So now now every statement written below would consider that we are always firing query on tables inside this schema. So you don't have to do additional stuff. So BPA table, or you can do sales order table, inner join, SNWD BPA table on, and you got to give the alias as SO, as BP, on condition, sales order table dot control space. It's, I think, buyer GUID. The column name is buyer GUID in the sales order table for applying the join. Let's see that. Come on, it's taking a little bit of time to hit my HANA DB from my local Eclipse. Operation is in progress. Let's see. It should pull the column information, and I should be able to select that from the result set. It's taking a lot of time. So the column name participating in join is buyer GUID from sales order table. So I would be just putting that over here. Maybe I cancel this. So we'll just do the join. So you can also compare the syntax between what I'm writing in HANA DB or what I'm writing in OpenSQL. It's more or less same, as you can also see. And from BP table, it's node key, which is joining them. And I can say group by BP or company name. Currency code. Execute this query, and we should see the result of every customer with its company name and total gross amount total with the currency code printed at front of us. What result we were seeing in ABAP is same we will see here in directly writing a query on HANA database. Okay, so you may see, okay, it's taking time. Is it will it take time when I directly do this in database? No, this is purely my Eclipse issue. There is a problem in my Eclipse connecting to this HANA host. It is taking time. You saw also my code completion was not working. So there's some problem in my Eclipse connecting to HANA DB, or I don't know. So that is why it may take some time, but after the connection is established, this is my first query. You see connection is lost. So there is some connection issue actually. So we just right click and again open SQL console. You see it's taking time. Yeah, I think now it is a connection to DB. I'll close that old one and execute this. And yeah, you can see it would have got executed and it would have given me the total amount now. Same query works with HANA DB. You can also apply having clause here, having wherever sum of gross amount is greater than 100 billion. So only those customers which has more than 100 million revenue, sorry, that was 1 million, and then you have 100 million. So only these customers are displayed. You see 5 records over here. Same comes over here. When you run it, it takes about 5 milliseconds. And you see same 5 customers with the total revenue comes up on the UI. Understood? Is that example clear about group by clause to everyone? Group by and having clause. Now, along with group by, with SAP NetWeaver 7.4, in having clause, you can use the aggregate functions, but you can also use these new features which I showed you yesterday, like case statement. So we saw an example of case statement yesterday that we can evaluate a condition at runtime while applying the query, right? So we can also use such kind of case statements also into our group by clause. So group by not just support with having clause these aggregate functions within the having clause, but with group by it is also possible to support with the case statement. So now I want to write a case statement so I want to tag the customers basically. So the customers who has gross amount less than, okay, customers who has gross amount for an invoice for a single, sorry, for a single sales order, if the gross amount is less than let's say 10,000, then I want to mark it as X. And the customers which has the invoice or the sales order gross amount more than 10,000, I want to mark it as a different flag. So basically I want to total the big orders and small orders separately per customer. Okay, so for every customer I want to know every order I want to sum differently. So any order which is more than 1,000, let's say 1,000 rupees or 1,000 USD, that will be summed together. All the orders which are more than 1,000 rupees, orders which are less than 1,000 rupees will be summed together as a different record. Okay, so what is the requirement? Let's note down. So now we calculated just the total gross amount per customer. Now we want to also calculate total gross amount based on order size. So for every customer, we want to see total of gross of all orders more than 1,000 and total of gross where order size was less than 1,000. So whenever the order was more than 1,000, wherever the order is more than 1,000, sum them up together. And wherever each individual order is less than 1,000, sum that up as a separate data. So for that to happen, if you want to do this again, you got to write a lot of complex if conditions in your coding. So if you come here to previous example, you again have to check if every gross amount is greater than or less than 1,000, and then you have to prepare two different internal tables to sum one the ones which are less than 1,000 in one internal table, the one which are more than 1,000 in another internal table. But now this can also be achieved by directly doing a code push down and using the case statement. So we will now use a case statement over here, and with that we will just calculate, or we will basically calculate the total. So using case statement, so what I'll do is I come here and put a case statement, and I say if the gross amount, sales order gross amount, if this is less than 1,000, okay, if this is less than 1,000, then I am returning value as X. Else I am returning value as blank, and this I am creating it as a new column. Okay, so it's a low volume order. Okay, low volume order. So low volume order and high volume order, the orders which are less than 1,000, which are low volume order, then return X, else return blank, and as this from yet again the same conditions. Now why it is giving me an error here with case statement? This is less than 1,000, then X. Let me do a syntax check. It says this is invalid. Okay, I think after case we have to put a when condition. Yeah, this is what I have to put. Now if you see technically, this whole case statement is also acting like a new column, right? Isn't it? And this is this particular piece of code, this whole thing is also acting like a new column, which I'm selecting at runtime. And what is the golden rule, FundaFox, for group by clause? Any column which you select, if not part of aggregate function, has to be part of your group by clause, isn't it? Right? So this whole piece of code is actually another column, which also has to be part of your group by clause. Yeah. So you have to put this case statement also as part of your group by clause, actually. Okay. So let's do this as part of group by, put comma and put this case statement below. This you cannot do before NetWeaver 7.4. Okay. Not possible. Not possible. Before 7.4 SP2, you cannot put a case statement in the group by. In fact, you can't even put a case statement here. I save this. Now, watch carefully. It will sum up the orders based on the low volume order and high volume order. Now I will remove the having clause right now just to show you the final result. Now it will show you the orders, sum of orders which are lower in volume, sum of orders which are higher in volume. Separate total per customer. Execute it. Oops, it's dumping. I tab duplicate key. Yes, of course, my table key constraint got violated because I have created my internal table with a key. And if I try to insert same customer name once again, it would give me a dump. So I would just remove this key, make it like a simple internal table. Type table of simple internal table I'm creating so that it won't violate any key constraint of internal table. Save, check it, activate it, and now watch carefully. You will get two results per customer. Total of all the orders which are less than 1,000 separately totaled, and orders which are more than 1,000 will be totaled separately. This kind of complex business logic can be pushed down to database layer if you want, if you have NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 and HANA DB, because HANA has this computation power. This logic completely runs on database layer. Execute it, and now you see for every customer, you see this customer Delbont Industries, all the total orders, all the orders which are less than 1,000, all the orders which are less than 1,000 summed up here, and all the orders which are more than 1,000 have been summed up here. So I know this customer has big orders, more than 1,000, more than 1,000 amount orders, which sums to this. And you see customer SAP, it has only the orders more than 1,000. So you can also print this column. What you have here, low volume order, this has to be displayed. Okay, execute it. Why it is not printing this column? Ideally, it should have printed the column on the UI. It should have printed X or blank on the UI. Okay, I am not doing it. I have to put it in my table and then print it. So low volume order as a flag so that we can actually see which order is low volume. Type flag because I'm returning an X, and then print that here. Work area hyphen low volume order. Yeah, now it will show you an X for the total of low volume orders on the UI. You see, this is a total of low volume order for the company. This is the total of low volume order. You see, customer SAP, any order which customer SAP have given to me, there is not at all any single order which is less than 1,000 rupees, $1,000. It's in USD. So there is no single order from SAP which it has given me which is less than $1,000. Which means this is my most priority customer. Every order is more than $1,000. For every other customer, I see low volume orders and their total. But for SAP, I don't see low volume order at all. You can make such a decision by digging into your data, and all this can be calculated in seconds thanks to HANA DB. For doing same calculation, it used to take hours and days and hours. With HANA DB running on NetWeaver 7.4 with these latest features, you can take much better informed decisions and analytics, which you can call it analytics, to find out such business intelligent logic quite quickly. Now you can see what is the use of ABAP on HANA for us. Yeah. So here we are putting the case statement again. Absolutely, you have to put the case statement again in the group by, because any column not part of aggregate function has to be part of group by clause. That's your funda, folks. You see, when a column is selected and it is not part of aggregated, not surrounded with aggregate function, it has to be part of group by clause. That's why you have to put this case statement over here. If you don't put it, I don't know what will be the result. Let me try. I cut it, end the query, save it, do a quick check. You see, you get an error. Yeah, you see, you get an error. So you have to put it. And this is only possible with NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 onwards to calculate such results. It could be lot of different analytical requirements. So it's all about business, guys. Business has such a requirement. Business told you, get me the order total amount of every customer which has order less than 1,000. Is the if the order amount is less than 1,000, sum it up separately. Orders which are more than 1,000 US dollars, sum that up and show me differently. This is, here it is. Here is your result. Okay. But can't we just name the new column? No, it will not work. So this is just for the explanation purpose. I told you that this whole thing is working like a new column. Okay. You already given an alias name here actually. But if you just put this low volume order, it may not work. But maybe we can try. We can try that. That's a good point. Just see if this works. It doesn't work, see. Since it's a case statement, it expects the same case statement over there also. It doesn't work. Though you have given an alias name of final result set what you're producing, but still it doesn't work. Okay. Great. What an example. It's an amazing example. And such kind of examples are very common in typical ERP world. What we used to do earlier is, to do this, we have to select all the data, loop at it, and create two internal tables. And then in different internal tables, you got to sum it up. The orders which are more than 1,000, sum it up in different table. Orders which are less than, sum it up in a different table. And join these two internal tables and print the final result. That's what you would do if you don't have ABAP on HANA knowledge, isn't it? So you can see how we are slowly, protecting the guidelines and producing the smart results, which are performance sensitive results. Okay, so that's about group by, having clause and new features. With the group by, what else you can do? Now with SAP NetWeaver 7.4, some more limitations have been reduced by SAP. The one of the major limitation was right outer join was not supported. Okay, so some more limitations and features which have come. So one was, now we have right outer join available. Okay, earlier there was no right outer join available. So what is the workaround you will do if you don't have a right outer join? Anybody? What we used to do in old ABAP when we did not had the right outer join available in the, no, not get all data. So it's just about changing your table. So you use left outer join, it was there. So you say table 1, left outer join, table 2. Now if you want to consider table 2 record corresponding to the record which doesn't exist in table 1, flip their position. Flip their position, that's it. Put the right table on the left, put the left table on the right. It technically sufficient enough to produce the same result, since there was no right outer join. Okay, it's just that another feature they have given. So what is right outer join? In this case, if you have, let's say, two tables, let's say this is my first table. If I just come here and just make it design as transparent. If I have two tables like this, and this is my left table and this is my right table. So I have records in my right table. Corresponding to that, there is no record in the left table. But still I want to print the record which are intersecting, plus the records which are additionally extra there in the right table. Just like left outer join we saw yesterday. So I want the full set. The records which are intersection, which are available both in the left and right. Also the records which are there in right. Let me take an example. So guys, a lot of people come and register on Amazon.com. But do you think the people who have registered on Flipkart, Amazon, they all order necessarily things on Amazon or Flipkart? do you think that people who are registered on Amazon, they will all place online orders? No, they may not. Which means in this case, there is a possibility that there are business partners. I am partnering with them. They are my customers, but need not necessarily have placed any order to me. So I want a report of all sales order, total of gross amount, and customer names who have not ordered anything at all. So the earlier result I want, where I have my business partners and sales orders which I was using. Okay, so in this it was only getting me the sales order because I applied an inner join. Inner join says intersection, record must there in both tables. Okay, there is a corresponding record in both the tables. That's an inner join. When in this case it won't get you the business partner information which has not placed any order at all. Okay, to do that you will do a left outer join. So in this case, since your business partner table is placed on the left side, here you see it's on the left side, you do a left outer join. Now it will still calculate the cross section, the intersection, by calculating the sum, but it will also get you the business partners which don't have any order at all. Okay, so now you look at the result, you would see even the name of the business partners which has no orders. You see, now you see it's also getting you the data for the business partners which has no order. See, Berg Berlin, he's a business partner, but he don't have any order. Sum is 0. It's printing that business partner now. You see here this business partner. Earlier result it was not coming, but now it is coming because this business partner did not had raised any order. If you apply inner join, it would consider always records from both tables if it exists. But if you want the intersection plus also you want to know the business partners which has no orders but is still printed in the result list, you can do that thanks to this option available over here called outer join. This is left outer join. Now by any chance, if you would have taken or if you would have written your tables in a different way, you would have written your business partner table here, okay, and your sales order table here. So which side now your business partner table exists? Anybody? Is it on the left side of the join or is it on the right side of the join? Right side now. See, this is my left side and this is my right side. If you just do this, you will know better. So now here you see in the result, your business partner table is on the right hand side. This is the right hand side, RHS of the join. And this is LHS of the join. So if you have the table on the LHS, you can use left outer join. So always in the past, in old ABAP, when we want to do an outer join, it was only left outer join. So you have to put your table which you want to get extra records for which there is no corresponding record on the right side table. Always used to use left outer join. BPA has to be on the left side. But since now the right outer join is available, you can also put business partner table on the right hand side of the join. That's the only difference with the left and right outer join. So I can now do a right outer join, which is now possible. It will get me the business partners which has not placed any order at all. It's still in the result list. Earlier with inner join, it was not coming. So you can see still the same result. It's just that now you don't need to change the position of the table to apply it with the left outer join. You don't have to change the position actually. That's the only thing, only difference you have. So right outer join is available with SAP NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 onwards. Okay. This is a new feature. It's a new thing which is available. What else has been improved by SAP? So with SAP, they have also improved the bracketing of joins. So you cannot put joins in the brackets like this. Okay, so you cannot put like this joins in the bracket. But now it is possible to put joins inside brackets with SAP NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 onwards. You see, activation doesn't give me any error. In old ABAP with 7.3, this syntax would give you an error. This is more better when you're writing a lot of complex queries. You're writing a lot of complex joins, which we will see in upcoming chapters. When we join 3 tables, that time you may need to bracket your joins into parentheses. So to give a priority of which join should evaluate first and which join should evaluate later, that is the main reason why you do a bracketing. So now it's possible to provide bracketing for joins. Okay, that is possible. Okay, that is possible. And now just go there and just put it as a bullet point as a main point, so that we know that what is the main point and what is the description. So every bullet point here you see, right outer join is a feature. This bracketing is a feature. What else? What else SAP have done with 7.4? These are all the things people will ask you in interview, guys. So be very careful with these interview points. So now new functionality in on condition is also possible. You can put expressions in your on condition. So new functionality in on condition of joins. So inside the join, along with the join on condition. So if you see here on condition, this is the on condition for the join, this part. You can put more and more, more data set, more conditions as part of join. It's possible. So what you can do it, you can also put and you can additionally say along with this join, calculate that if the company name is only like S percentage. So get me the result, get me the name of the customers and their total revenue, total sales, basically total sales order amount separately for less than and greater than $1,000 per order, where company name starts with S. So this is possible with SAP NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 onwards. You can put more complex join conditions in on statement. This is possible. You do a syntax check, activate. Now it will get you only the customers which starts with S or has an S. Okay, it's not working. Okay, it is working indeed. You see, it has calculated the total for only the customer which are starting with S. You see, rest all the total is considered to be 0. Okay, there all the totals are considered. So the one which are always start with M, only calculate the total for those which are starting with M. Okay, it will now do this. So you will see the result. You can see only the companies which are starting with name M, it has calculated the total. Rest all it simply ignores. This is the power of putting more join conditions in on statement. You can put additional conditions here with and statement inside the join condition. Along with join condition, more conditions can be put with SAP NetWeaver 7.4 onwards. This is possible. Okay, so you see the business need. Based on the business need, now you can apply or you can decide which type of condition, which type of statement, whether I should put it in group by, whether I should put it in having, whether I should put it in the on condition. This is all you got to decide. Okay, so you can now put this condition within the join more. And now what has also been improved, so restrictions of maximum number of table in join has been also improved. SAP have increased the number of tables which can participate in the join. So number of tables which can participate in joins are now, any guess? 50. So anybody knows how many, what was the old value? How many tables you can apply a join on together in a single query? What was the old value? 9, absolutely. Very good. This is an important interview question with NetWeaver 7.4. This has no meaning actually. Nobody does such a complex join. But just to inform you that this is a good interview question or also certification interview question for ABAP on HANA. What is the maximum number of joins with NetWeaver 7.4 SP2 onwards? You can include maximum number of tables. It is 50. Earlier, you can include only 9 tables in a join before NetWeaver 7.4. This has been improved with NetWeaver 7.4. Okay. Then next is also the maximum number of subqueries. So, you know, subqueries, output of one query given to input of another query is called subquery. So, maximum number of subquery has been also increased to 50, again from 9. This was also 9 as the limit, and now you can have 50 subqueries. So let me show you the power of subquery. So here, let's say this query, what you have, treat it as a result set. So this query produces a result for you. Okay. Now I just save this, activate it. This is some result it is producing. Okay. Some result it has got. Now I want on top of this result another query to be applied. I can do that. Okay. So output of this query goes to the input of another query. Okay. That is possible. So maybe I will show a simple example. This is going to be very complex for you. So maybe I will just first show you simple example. So subquery could be, I want to know this order thing or summation of all the orders for the companies which are part of, let's say, some region. So let me check the BPA table if I can get some data from BPA table. So I'll just quickly open my SQL console once again and hit a star query on BPA table. So select star from SNWD SAP A4H schema name SNWD underscore BPA. Execute. And now I'll see some data. So now I just say BP role is 1, 2, and so on, and fax number, phone number, SAP SE legal from. Okay, so I want to now know, okay, I want to now get this total of gross amount only and only for the companies which are having legal done from South Africa. You see SA. Okay, now this data, you see SA, is there in the business partner table. Okay, it's there in the business partner table. So one way to do this is you also select this legal information or legal from. Okay, but the moment you do it, it would cause a group by clause to be also included, that new column. But if I want to filter this data, I can use having clause, and now I can say having legal from. So of course I have to select the business partner table, legal from, or maybe I can do it in a different way. I don't want to select legal from column at all. Okay, but still I want to filter the records for the companies which has legal done from South Africa. So what I will do is I will just put a having clause with company name in select all the company names. Okay, select all the company names from SNWD underscore BPA table where legal from is from South Africa. This is a subquery. So you see, I have reduced the need for selecting my legal from column from my main query. My subquery, this is my subquery. It produces all the company names already, which are having legal done from South Africa. And that set of company name is given in the having clause to filter the result set finally, which have done legal from South Africa. So SA dot is also there. So I save this. This is my subquery. So in the having clause, I'm filtering now data only for the companies which has done the legal from South Africa without selecting this column here in my main query. I can do this filtering, do a check. I think the column name is incorrect. LEGAL FORM, legal form. Do a check and activate. Now you will only see the result set of companies which has done their legal from South Africa. That's the example for subquery. And you see these are all the only companies belonging to South African legal department, or South America. I don't know, maybe South America. So these are all the companies who have done the legal from South America. Yeah. So an example of subquery, output of this query is given to the input of another query. That's what called subquery. So this has also been increased to more than 50 subqueries. You can nest it together inside a main query. Okay. Now remember guys, these type of things, these type of queries are really your performance saviors. This because this directly calculate all the final result in database, and only the final result is transferred from database layer to the application layer. This is what code pushdown is all about with new open SQL syntax. This is pure code pushdowns, guys. This is pure code pushdown because the query gets evaluated on the database. Okay. What else has been improved? So you all know that SAP tables have client fields, mandate fields. Every SAP table has mandate fields. So if you come here, you can see there's a client field which has all the data. So in this system right now, there is only 001 client. Okay. There's a data only for 001 client. So let me insert a record now in 000 client right now in this. So in this business partner table, I'm going to insert a record in 000 client. So maybe just open the table on the left side, go to content, sorry, not content, catalog, open the schema and open the table at front of you and just insert a sample record in our database table, SNWD BPA table with client as 000. I'm going to insert a new record in DB table with a different client value. Okay, let me show you that. And then I will show you selecting this data from ABAP. How can we select the data from ABAP? So right click here on the tables and just apply a filter because there are a huge number of tables and my Eclipse connection is not that capable to pull the data. As you can see, it just failed some time back. And just apply a filter. SNWD underscore BPA table, and it will apply the filter now. So I will insert, just show you how to insert a record directly using HANA table or using HANA statements. Okay, SNWD BPA, where is that gone? It didn't apply the filter properly. There's some problem. Just wanted to show you generating insert statement for our BPA table so that I can just have a data generated. Let me check. Come on. It has to get me the table. So I will directly insert a record. This is how even HANA Studio works. The way we are working with Eclipse, same way HANA Studio will also work. So now you can see I've got my table over here, SNWD underscore BPA table. It has filtered. I right click on the table and say generate an insert statement. So system will automatically check the columns and get me an insert statement for this table. And I'm just going to insert maybe a record for client field 000. That's my first field. Let me check what all the other fields I have. Just insert a node key. So I copy this in a notepad. Just take some dummy key as a node key, and that's my node key, and I just change it to 6999. And then next field was, what was the next field? It is business partner role 01, email address, phone number. So 01, email address anubhav.abap@gmail.com, some phone number, fax number, and then next after that we have address, website address, then address GUID. So I say and then some GUID here, and then next is the company name, legal form created by. So I just put company name as Online Fiori. That's it. Let me just execute and insert a record. Let's see if it works. SQL error near comma. I think I have given blanks, which it is not accepting. Maybe just remove them and execute once again. Not enough values Online Fiori. No, I think there is some problem. There are two more columns after that. After the email ID, there are two more columns, which is fine. Then web address, then a GUID, then some number is there, customer number is there. So let me put that number and execute. Some problem. I think I got to give all the values. So let me just try. Generate and insert statement again. Or maybe what I'll do is I will show you directly inserting a data from ABAP. So what I'll do is I'll just select a couple of records from the table. Star up to 10 rows from SNWD_BPA, and then into internal table. And now what I'm going to do is I'll change the value for the client field in the table. Inline field symbol declaration, and just change the client field value. It's a mandate column, 000. Do a quick check. Okay, I got to comment out my declarations. It's saying mandate is unknown. No problem. And I say insert into SNWD_BPA table from table iTab. Now I want to give here a client field so that when it is inserting the data in my BPA table, I want to specify that it should insert in a different client. So that's why I just came back here to check the statement and the addition which I have to do if I can insert into a different client from insert statement. So insert into target values. No, there's no way to insert data record in a different client. Okay, so only while selecting I can do it. So unfortunately I can't insert a record here in this case, and neither I'm able to do it from here because it's kind of complex. The table is quite big and you see not enough values. Maybe I'll give a shot once again. So after giving the company name, legal form, so company name, legal form, let me put it South America. Next column is created by, that's why I leave it blank. Created by, created at 4 columns, and then currency. So after South Africa, 4 columns will be empty. Currency. Let me give a try now if this works. Invalid number, so I say 2323. Yeah, I can see I have inserted a record successfully, guys. So let me re-execute this, and you would see now the data record has also a value from client 000. Okay. Now from ABAP, if you want to read this data from ABAP system, okay, can anybody tell me how will you read data in ABAP from a different client? What do you use in your select query? Anybody? If I just write a simple report to select some record and print them on the UI. Absolutely, you're right, Senthil. We use client specified statement. So I just say write statement and I say work area hyphen company name. I'm just printing company name. So what happens when you run this code, system will automatically hit the current client. So when you log in SAP system, you can see here the client which I am logged in is 001. So it goes to HANA DB with this client automatically. And it pulls the data from BPA table for client 001. If I run this, it always gives me the value from 001 client by default. Okay. Now, if I want to read the data for 001 client, I have to say client into table. This client is specified, and now I have to say where mandate is equals to 000. So this way I can read data from my SAP system by passing the current client and inputting the client from where I need to read the data. So you see now in our database table, we inserted a new record with 000 client. It should fill that. It should get that for me. Okay, why it's not pulling it? Let me quickly check client specified documentation. And then if I just come down, yeah, where mandate is equals to, in the single quote, we have to put the client. This should work fine. It's not accepting. Unknown column name. Until runtime, you cannot specify the field list. It's not accepting, guys, this client value. There is some problem. So what SAP have done with 7.4 onwards, you can specify the client value not just by using client specified keyword, but you can also say using client and then just put your client value. That's it. This way you can safeguard, or basically it's an easy syntax to tell the system that you got to get the data from this client. I save this. Let me show you if this works. Do a check. And yes, you can see there's no error now. And if I run this now, it will only get me the data of business partner for the partners which has client 000 as the value. And there's only one record right now. So you would see it's printing all line Fiori. So this is something which has happened new in SAP NetWeaver, that we can get the record from a specified client, because in database you may have records in different clients. So using client keyword, you can get the data from a different client. You don't have to use client specified keyword now anymore. You can use this, and it's easy to use to pull the data from a different client. That's a new feature in SAP NetWeaver Gateway. So we can use using client keyword instead of client specified. Okay, that's what we can do it. So these are all the features or major important enhancements which SAP have done in SAP NetWeaver OpenSQL syntax. You saw many examples how the performance can be improved by following guidelines. Visibly, you see great results when you try to push down your code into database by applying subqueries, by using these aggregate functions, by using group by and having clauses, by using extra conditions in on, using right outer join. You also have to minimize the data transfer, avoiding the select and select. And there are other functions like coalesce function, which we saw yesterday. There are functions like calculating the absolute value, floor value, seal value. So all that you can do it directly by writing down such an OpenSQL syntax, which pushes down more and more calculations to the database layer, because your query always runs in the database layer. With this knowledge, now we will proceed, come back to our POC for open item invoices, Mr. James requirement, and start writing our program to fulfill this. So let's get started. We want to now calculate how long the invoices are open on an average basis per customer. What is the total amount, gross amount in a common currency for every customer invoice which is open. And then finally tagging the customer based on their ability to pay their bills. If a customer exceeds the threshold value, then that customer would be coming in the hit list of Mr. James, that this customer may not be able to pay out the required things on time. Yeah. So let's get started with this document now. We will follow step by step. Pull the data. I will write bad queries first of all, and then we will replace those bad queries with the new OpenSQL statements and group by statements, and we will see a performance improvement. And then further on, if you want to squeeze the last bit of performance, you got to go to the new guys, like implement this logic directly in HANA-DB by implementing information model, or you can use CDS view concept, or you can use AMDPs and ADBCs. So we will learn all those concepts now based on this example. So let's get started coding this example. So I will write down this open item invoice example. We will also, of course, calculate the performance. So maybe I just copy my performance code, which I will be using. And I say ydemo open item analysis with SQL 01. Create this report. Plain vanilla open SQL. Click on save. So let's start here. Step by step, I will just copy paste the complete algorithm into my report, so that I don't have to switch back the PPT again and again. This is my complete algorithm. So let's come with the step 1. Get all the open invoices from invoice header table which are unpaid. So select. What is that which we need to get is the gross amount. So I say invoice gross amount. I need to also get the data from business partner table, the BPID, from BP SNWD BPA table as BP, inner join SNWD sales order invoice header table as invoice. We also need the currency code, guys. So business partner ID, we need gross amount from invoice, and we also need the currency code from invoice table. So this is the join condition on business partner node key is invoice table partner GUID, I think will be there. Buyer GUID is there. You can see this is the join condition. Just like between the sales order and business partner we joined. Similarly, now we are doing with invoice header tables, the items which are shipped, and we ask customer to make the payment. Okay, so we did this join condition, and now we need to also say where invoice table and if the invoice was paid or not paid. So payment status is equals to blank. Get me all the invoices for business partner where payment status is empty and select, and let me print this result right now. Let's just get it into a work area and just gonna print this result quickly. Work area hyphen business partner ID, work area hyphen gross amount, work area hyphen currency code. So it will only print now every customer ID with the amount and the currency what the invoices are open. Yeah. So I execute this, and you see these are all the invoices which are open for the different business partners. Okay, great. So is that the one which we wanted? So how long? Okay, the first requirement is how long on an average invoice is open. So basically in this case, then you got to get all the open invoices, and which are unpaid, get the customer ID where payment status is empty. We basically also need to get the date since when it is open. So that is there in invoice table. So you can get the created date of invoice. Created on. So I will also get the created on since when this invoice was created. Oops, there is no created on. Let me check the columns. I'll just go back to invoice table and see how do I know since when the invoice is open, because I need to calculate the average number of days since when the invoice is open, right? So I need to know, yeah, it is created by created at. This is the column I need to select, guys. Yeah, created at. Let's do a check. Yeah, it's okay. And now you see I will get the created at date, on which date this was created. So basically, if I now want to know what should be my result set, first with first query, my final result set should be, let me just go back to the example. So first result set should be, we need to loop at the data, calculate the current date minus created date, and calculate the number of total days since the invoices are open per customer, guys. So for one customer, I should calculate how many invoices. So let's say in this example, there are 4 invoices. So this is open since 10 days. This is open since 9 days. This is open since 9 days. This is open since 8 days. So total number of days, how many invoices are open. Then number of invoices I will get with total like this. And then I will calculate the average number of days since invoices are open. So this is my first result set with first query. So I have to get the created date, and once this is done, I have to calculate now the difference between the number of since when the invoice is open. That is what I have to do now in this query. So current date minus the date since when the invoice is open. Now if you observe this created at, let me show you in database table the created at field, or I can print it also here. The created at is actually a timestamp. A timestamp is a collection of date and time both in SAP system. So it's not just the date, you see, it's a timestamp. 2015 12 08 2300, 11 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. So you see, this is how the data is in the system. So I need to first calculate for every created at timestamp the final date. Okay. I need to do that. And I will first create my final data set internal table. So let me create a type. Types, begin of type, which is here I'm calculating days. So one is BP underscore ID, type SNWDBP, BPID. Second, I want to calculate the total invoices, type I. Third, I want to have total days since when the invoices are open. This is also an I. So I just want these three columns. End of type, TY days. Let me declare an internal table now. We can also, we don't need the gross amount in this case, guys, not required. So you just need business partner ID. Currency code is also not required in this case. We just need created at, select business partner ID and created at when was the invoice created from this, based on this condition where payment was not met, not made by customer. So then we say LT days, type table of TY days. And let's declare a work area like line of LT days. Let's do it LS days properly. Now I will say LS days hyphen total number of days since when the invoice is open. Or maybe I can use a variable to calculate the difference, different days, difference between days, type I. So I just say different days is equals to my current date, psi hyphen datum. You can also calculate, get the local date. So DATLO is a variable in SAP system which gives you the current based on, let's say I'm in India, so it's not, it won't give me the date of the system date, it will give me the local date. So current date minus LV date since when the invoice is open. So I, from database, I don't get the date directly because I get a timestamp. I need to evaluate the date based on converting this timestamp to the date. Okay, so I need to convert this timestamp to the date. So in ABAP we have convert timestamp statement. Based on the time zone, we can convert the timestamp to the date. So I can say convert timestamp, and my timestamp is in the work area, created at time zone, which is the local time zone, size system hyphen zone. There is a system field for current time zone, and into date, and I declare an inline variable LV date. So with the database table, I get the timestamp, which I will convert into a date variable, and then I will calculate the difference between current date minus the date since when the invoice is open. This gives me the number of difference days. I can also put it in my work area, new work area for difference in days. So total, yeah, maybe I can just put it in work area hyphen total days. And I can just also assign work area hyphen total invoice is equals to 1. And now this work area is filled actually with my data, BPID equals to work area hyphen BPID. So I can now append the data in internal table in a way that it totals up my total days and invoices, total invoices, right? So if you remember the collect statement, when you fire a collect statement, every time you go, it checks a non-numeric column, and all the other numeric column it will total up. So here when you do a collect of this work area in your internal table, it will just do a total into Actually, my work area here is LS days to LT days. Let's print it. Okay, so now I will print this data. So write for every business partner, how many invoices are open? Let's find that. Total number of invoices which are open, and how many days since these invoices are open. And as you all know, now you can have an average calculated. So LV average, you can easily get the average with this. You can say average is equals to total number of days since when the invoices are open divided by total number of invoices which are open. That's how you can calculate average per invoice. Save this. Let's print this result. We will get to know. Okay, this is an error. LV average is unknown. Let's do an inline data declaration for this guy. Save it. Check it. Activate it. Let's fire it up. And there you go. You can see that total number of days is 51,520. 72 invoices are open for this customer. And on an average 716 days since when invoices are open. Yeah, so this way you can see for every business partner, it is basically telling you how many total number of invoices are open on an average, what is the day, how many number of days the invoices are open. That's an average it is giving you. That's what we wanted as first part. So this is one result you can go and show to Mr. Smith. You can say, okay, I have calculated at least the number of average days since when the invoices are open. First part of the example. Now, don't talk about performance right now. Just simply go with the flow. We will improve the performance in upcoming chapter. But right now, let's focus on the requirement. So this is one part of the requirement. Let's go to the second part of the requirement where you have to now calculate the total gross amount in a common currency. Okay, and let's assume the common currency is euros. So that's the requirement number 2, where this time you need to calculate the total of unpaid invoices, and basically the item details are there. So invoice gross amount is there in invoice header table, which is always equal to sales order gross amount. Remember guys, invoice gross amount is equal to sales order gross amount, but invoice item will tell you how many items were shipped, and per item what was the amount which customer supposed to pay. So you got to calculate the total actual amount which will be paid by customer using invoice item table, not by invoice header table. So this time we will join 3 tables: business partner, invoice, and invoice item. All 3 tables we will be joining. So we will get the company name, business partner ID, currency code, and the gross amount, and all these details for the invoices which are open. Okay, we got to do that and convert the gross amount every time to a common currency in the loop. We got to do the currency conversion. So let's start. So I say select business partner ID, company name, then the gross amount for the invoice. Okay, so that's what I need to get from the items table. So I can say invoice item, currency code, gross amount per item we will get to know, and then invoice table, header table when it was created. Okay, so this is my selection from. Now 3 tables are going to join. So SNWD as BP table, inner join SNWD underscore sales order invoice header table. Join condition is as invoice Join condition is BP hyphen node key equals to invoice table partner ID, or it was the buyer GUID. That is one condition. That is first join. Second join is between invoice table, again an inner join with invoice item table. Yeah, invoice item table on as invoice item on invoice table node key matches with invoice item table parent key. This is a relation between item and this table. Okay, so it will get me the gross amount of every single item which has been delivered to customer, and its gross amount as well as its currency for every single item. And we will store it in an internal table or in a work area and loop up the work area. So all that collect into a work area. Say items. So of course an escape variable, since I'm using comma, where from invoice table payment status is again empty. All the open invoices to calculate the gross amount, and select. Now it's time to declare a type. Once again we got to do a collect statement, this time to calculate the gross amount total for every invoice item. So let's declare types. Begin of ty amount, BPID, company code, basically I'm preparing the columns which I'm selecting. Gross amount, which is a numeric column this time. And then we have created it. We don't need created it actually. It's not required. Let's not select it. So BPID, company name, currency code, gross amount. That's all we need. End of TY amount. Type table of TY amount. LS amount. Line of LT amount. And this work area is, we can put it here in LS amount. So 4 columns: BPID, company name, currency code, and gross amount we are selecting. Now for every record from the items table, we will get the data in a currency, and that value needs to be converted first into the required currency, correct? So also we need to declare an internal table which will hold the total value in a common currency. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Actually we can use this table itself. So what I will do is I will call a reusable function module in SAP to do a currency conversion. Convert to local currency is the name. This function module we call, and we can put here the date on which the conversion is applied. So I put the system current date psi hyphen dat lo, local date in the system. The foreign amount is the gross amount, the amount which you want to convert, ls amount hyphen gross amount. foreign currency is in which currency you want to convert. So all the values I want to convert in euros, which is the common currency in the final result. What is the value from which you want to convert? Which currency is what you're converting? So currency which I have got from database will be, this amount will be converted in euro from this currency in the loop. Yeah. So final result, local amount, which is what I will get here. So importing, and then you will get local amount, and I will capture that back into my work area for local amount. So that is about my amount. And of course, we can just do this exception handling. I can just fine, we'll leave it and just give an error message. Conversion type E, just in case if something goes wrong. And now we'll just do a collect of this into our internal table. It will sum up all the numeric value, which is gross amount, and finally we will print it. This will give me the total amount, guys, in the local currency for the company name. So similar example what we did in the previous case, where we were calculating the total order amount, gross amount of total orders, but it was not in a common currency, but now it is in the common currency for every customer, because I'm a global company having business across different countries. So this value will be calculated now in a common currency. And I will comment the previous write statement just to show only focus on the second result set. And I will now go to Mr. Smith and tell him that, boss, I have selected this data. What is the problem? The data field of type of aggregate function. Okay, I think I just have to do into corresponding fields of, because my order is mismatching. So I just have to do into corresponding fields of. Order of the type is not matching with the order of selection. So that's the only problem. Now execute, and it does the currency conversion for every amount, and now gets me the total amount in euros. Okay, it's just printing USD, which is the base currency, but actually this whole amount got converted for every order into common currency euro. Okay, this is euro converted amount, total amount per company. You see these are all my companies for which total invoices which have been unpaid by customers. This is the total gross amount in a common currency euro, because I've done the currency conversion in the loop. Okay, now once it is done, now you have the total gross amount also with you, and you also have the total on an average basis how many invoices have been unpaid. That also you have it. So you can then just do the conversion or basically just check the threshold value, and based on threshold value you can calculate which customer would probably be, you would be more interested to ask for paying their bills. So let's do a loop on each of the customer now. So we will create a loop now on each of the customer, and then we will also retrieve for that every customer the total number of average days since when it is open, and finally do the tagging for customer and print it in the final result. So let's loop at all the amounts, which is we are already doing on the top file. So in this loop now I'll write my logic. So for every amount now I will just select the corresponding data from the previous table which we prepared for days. So I say read table this into ls days with key bpid equals to ls amount hyphen bpid if psi hyphen sub rc is 0. Of course it will be 0. So what will we do next is we will just get the average. First of all, let's calculate the average in a variable like we been printing the average last time also. Just calculate this average number of days since when the invoice is open. And just come here and calculate this average. This is 0.1. And after calculating the average, I already have the gross amount. So now I will just decide whether customer is relevant for tagging or not. So I create a new variable called tagging. And we will apply another feature of SAP NetWeaver 7.4 called boolc. So boolc is a function. It's a Boolean function which will return you true if the conditions written inside this is true. So if you just write this, boolc will return you X. ABAP true, it will return you. If you write a condition which fails, boolc will return a blank. That's a ready-made function in SAP ABAP now from 7.4 onwards. So I will write a condition here checking if the average number of days is more than 750 for a customer. Okay, so if I say if average number of days since when the invoice is open is more than 750 days, which is my first condition, and the gross amount, which is ls amount hyphen gross amount, is also, which is the open invoice gross amount is more than, let's say, 20 or 25,000, then that invoice also comes under my scanner, and this customer could also be a defaulter. So maybe let's make it 50,000. So invoice is open, average invoice days since when it is open is 750 for invoices for this customer, and total invoice unpaid amount is more than 50,000. This customer is relevant for tagging. I calculate the tagging, and then finally I just print the result on the UI. So write ls amount, business partner company name, ls amount hyphen gross amount, and then of course hard-coded euro, and then we will say customer tagging flag LV average also we'll put, and LV tagging also we'll put. Save it, check it. That's okay. And I will execute it. And you see, these are all the customers which has amount exceeding 750 as the average days. You see, these are all the two customers, average open days exceed 750, and amount also exceeded 50,000. So maybe I'll just flip it. So this is your threshold value which Mr. James can change. So if Mr. James says, okay, get me the ones which has average exceeding 745 days, and the amount is also, let's say, 100 or 100 million. Then I activate it and execute. So none of the customers are defaulters. Maybe just reduce this amount a little bit. So that's the requirement Mr. James gave us, and we had fulfilled it. You see these customers, 745 days has exceeded, of course, and then these customers also have exceeded the amount which was exceeding the threshold. So these two are the potential defaulters who may default on payments in near future. Yeah. So Mr. James, as an accountant, account receivable accountant, can take better decision by looking at this report. So that's a plain vanilla case of calculating this. Of course, we also will note down in the next chapter the total time to run this report. And then Mr. James will complain about performance as and when the data increases. So we will optimize the same used case to achieve a better performance using ABAP on HANA. So hope you understood this example and liked it. Please try to implement the same example by looking at the PPT and the used case with plain vanilla. Do your worst. Do as a worst ABAP programmer. Okay. So you see we are doing select and select, which is a loop. It's a bad programming, hitting the database multiple times, getting all the records every time for open invoices. No group by clause here. No having clause to filter data further on. completely bad programming, and of course this will cost you performance issues in a longer run when the data increases in your tables. So to solve this, in the next chapter we will talk about how to solve it with OpenSQL, and we'll also start with HANA modeling in our upcoming chapter. What is modeling in HANA? Attribute views, analytical views, and calculation views. So with that, it's a wrap on today's class. See you in the next weekend. Have a nice day and goodbye.